Ladies and gentlemen, we finally have some clarification with the status of Payday 3's first patch, and I'm very, very glad to be here reporting it. I did say I would go quiet until it actually updated us, and honestly, I expected to be gone for about 2 or 3 weeks at this point because there was just nothing happening, and I was really honestly suspicious it wasn't going to change for a while. But I'm here, and I also have COVID, so if my voice sounds really dodgy, that's why. I'm fighting it through at the minute, but in the middle of a lull where I'm not feeling too bad, they put this news out, so here we go. Let's talk about it. So, they put out a quick update for Payday 3 on their website not 20 minutes ago at the time of recording this, so I want to read it over with you and give my thoughts on it. So, first off, they open up by saying, we've been quiet over the last few days, and for that we apologise. It's not easy to communicate when we have not been able to offer any updates on the one big topic that's on everyone's mind right now. When are the patches coming to Payday 3? Despite our silence, we want to assure you that all the team is still working on our main priority, which is to get the patch we promised out to you and make sure our patching process allows us to continue publishing them at a steady cadence in the future. Again, that's kind of saying the same thing they've said the whole time, which I still don't completely agree with. I've said this before. I think there are some things they could have shared before now. You know, they can't share updates on the patch. Well, I mean, what about combining patches? What about has it been sent out for certification, etc., etc.? There are things they could have said. Even saying it hadn't been sent out for certification would allow us to set expectations, but something like that has been addressed now, so let's read what they've said. We know it sucks to keep hearing the same thing, so allow us to lift the curtains a little and give you some insight on what the team is working on right now. First off, the first patch has been sent off and is currently going through a testing and certification process. That means it's been submitted. Microsoft and Sony are looking at it. Valve don't really need to as much. I've said this before, but it's being approved. Now that can take, I think I've seen 3 to 5 days. I think it sometimes can take longer, so I don't want to set a necessary time on it, but provided that it gets approved, we should see the patch hopefully by next week. Fingers crossed. That's just from my experience. Don't quote me on it. I'm saying that this could be hopefully something to get our excitement up for. But remember, it could fail certification. That is possible, so it's not a guarantee just yet. But they have said we have made a commitment to our players to keep the parity between all platforms. This is an important part of the process. Good. No updates being released until it's ready on all platforms, then it gets released on all platforms at the same time. That's what you want. The reason it's taken so long to get this first patch ready is very long and complicated, but the short version is that we discovered critical errors with our update pipeline shortly after the game released. There was a significant risk to player progression being wiped if we didn't address this and ensured a solid test environment. Now, had they said this 3 weeks ago, that would have really alleviated a lot of the pressure they were getting, not just from me, but from everybody. I mean, that's a very important problem. I don't understand why they're not allowed to communicate these things, or something's going on where they can't share this stuff sooner. I know I'm being pedantic now and I'm having to go when they are talking, but you know what I mean, folks? I feel like a lot of the drama that at least I've been a part of with complaining about this stuff recently could have been avoided if they just told us this sooner, but it's better late than never, and I'm very grateful they're sharing it now. We see a lot of your feedback about the progression system in particular, and our designers are looking at how the system can be adapted to balance both the challenge system as well as offering infamy points for each heist. Fantastic. And we'll come back with more information on what this looks like soon. So it's not going to be the first patch. It never was. It's just bug fixes this first patch, possibly the first 2 patches, if, as I've said already, the patch that was split off isn't recombined. Still don't know what's going on there, and I would have appreciated them clarifying that, but whatever. Once we consistently deliver patches, the team will also deliver on our plans for more content for the game. Expect to see free content updates for the game before the end of the year. We'll share more information on what these will be when we get there. Again, we apologise for our silence. We see your frustration and anger, and we can assure you that this is not a situation we want to be in. The team is working hard on a game that will be supported for years to come and making Payday 3 the new Criminal Dawn. So this last point is interesting to me in particular, and I think I'll go back to my main chatting camera just so you can see my face. But no, the one thing that I'm really intrigued about in that comment is they're not saying any DLC is coming this year. They're saying free content now. Now, obviously, the last month, as we've discussed previously several times, it hasn't really gone to plan for Starbreeze, and it's been a month without any patches, and by the time this comes out, or maybe a month and a half, who knows, by the point it actually releases. The point being, that's obviously going to have some kind of impact on their roadmap. Initially, they said they were hoping it wouldn't impact anything. Alma did a stream yesterday where he pretty much said the same thing as always. But the point is, when he's been doing those streams, he's been saying, the DLC shouldn't be affected. He was talking yesterday about how some people who are like 3D artists are still working on 3D stuff for a new game. They won't fit the patch team. So not everyone is looking at the patch. Some people are still working on future content in the background to try and basically negate any delays to DLC updates. But Starbreeze's roadmap said that winter 2023 would be the start of the DLC plan. Now, winter kicks off in December, which means you'd expect updates December, January, February for the first group of DLCs, which is called Syntax Error. But yeah, I was expecting the DLC to kick off this year. Maybe that is a suggestion the DLC won't. Maybe it's nothing to overanalyze and it's not worth kind of going into any detail over. But I did think it was interesting. They've promised free game stuff before the end of the year, but not mentioned anything with regards to DLC. To be honest, with the way the game's been treated the last month and the lack of communication and all that stuff going on, I think giving us a good chunk of free content to begin with and not really pushing the DLC first would be a good move. Everyone who's bought Silver and Gold will still get what they promised, I've no doubt of that, but I think having a bit of extra time to just kind of bring people back in, do some free additions, skins, add some cool stuff in that people don't have to pay for, especially after the last month we've all had, would be a very good way to get people back on side. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do as compensation for the lack of updates, the lack of communication. I've personally been someone who wasn't that bothered by that, but given the last month and the amount of people who've been turned off for the game, I think that we do need to have something to kind of compensate for the time and bring us back in. So we will see what that will be. But ladies and gentlemen, I will wrap this video up here. That is everything we need to know right now about Payday 3's next patch. My voice is slowly fading away, so I'm going to cut this recording off before it's too late. I will let you all know as soon as there's any more big news. Like I said, even though I was taking a big break from Friday onwards, I did say I would come back whenever there was actual communication. I'm just surprised it's come around this quick. I really did not expect it. I have no idea if my video helped nudge them along. I would like to think it did, but I am not nearly egotistical enough to think that everything is down to my content. But regardless, to everyone who watched that video, commented on it, supported it, and shared their thoughts around and passed it around, I really do appreciate it. I really do. And a special shout out to the 2 people who came up to me at Liverpool Comic Con this weekend, which is probably where I got COVID, to recognise me and talk about my videos and stuff and just say they really love my content. That was really surreal, and it's the first time people have come up to me without any kind of discussion about meeting me at a con or anything like that, and it was really quite humbling. So thank you to both of you for that. I really appreciate that. But either way, I'll leave this video here. I'll let you all know when there's more news, whenever that will be for Payday 3's update. Until then, look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you all soon.